I'm trying something a little bit different today. I'm recording the entire thing on my phone. I'm gonna see if this is worse or better than the quality of the first one. So we'll see how much I hate this. Alright, I'm back. I'm doing a second episode. Seeing as I am still a month away from getting to talk to my doctor, I had to come up with something else to talk about, and something that I thought would be kind of interesting would be reasons why I finally wanted to get a diagnosis. I realized that two of the reasons had something in common. It was two TV shows. They don't especially have anything to do with each other, but at the same time they totally do. But you wouldn't kind of, I think, usually group them together. I think that TV is one of the ways that contemporary society is managing to have a conversation about mental illness, and I'm fine with that. I think that's a great idea. There were a couple of episodes specifically of a couple of different TV shows that made me really start looking into what I could do and where to start. The first one is from the show Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, which I think is a good show and I think has done a really good job at starting it. Like, it's fun, it's a musical, there are full-fledged musical numbers, singing, dancing, the whole nine, but then the further that the show got, the more seriously it started talking about mental illness, because the main character has some problems and she needs to, if she wants to continue existing, she needs help and she needs to get it looked into. And I think that the show does a really good job of being serious when it needs to be serious and being light when it needs to be light. But the episode that I'm talking about, it is the 6th episode in season 3, and I think the episode is called Josh is Irrelevant, and there's a song in it which I believe is called A Diagnosis, and it is the main character realizing that she has been misdiagnosed and she's going in to get diagnosed again. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, that's what's happening. She knew she had a problem already, she had dealt with it, and since she had moved, she had needed to get diagnosed again. The whole episode is about her actually being really excited because this is this thing that has been weighing her down, and now she's going to get a diagnosis, and that's gonna change her life, and there's a musical number about it. Seeing how joyous she was just at the prospect of just knowing what was wrong and that she was going to figure out how to move forward made me want that too. The other show is the show BoJack Horseman. This is a Netflix show. Crazy Ex-Girlfriend is on CW. That is a network show. BoJack Horseman is on streaming. The first half of the first season isn't great. I think they changed the way that they rate streaming service shows because of this show. The first half of the first season was getting really bad reviews from critics, and then they saw the second half of the season, they're like, oh, can we go back, because they give it letter grades, and they're like, oh, can we go back and actually change the grade that we gave it, because it's better than we thought. And it's really good, and it's about depression, basically. It is a comedy, it is sitcom formatted, it's animated, which I was trying to figure out what it was about the show, because the animation, just looking at, still photos of it, made me sort of uncomfortable, and I couldn't figure out why. And I think it has something to do with the fact that the horses have fingers, and I think that freaked me out. I think I stayed off of the show for a really long time for that reason. But I had enough faith in all of the people who were involved. It was like, I really like all of these people, and I trust their choices, so I stuck with it a little longer than I might have otherwise. I feel like it was really worth it, and I think that the reason that the show was set up was on purpose, to kind of make you think that it was one thing, so then when they hit you with the feels, you're accidentally invested and not expecting it, and, crying in your room for the next month because of this animated horse. The main character is super, super flawed, and there are times when or at least I found myself being like, I don't know that I can root for this guy anymore. But it just kept pulling me back in somehow. Season 4, episode 6 is the episode. The title of the episode is Stupid Piece of Shit. Throughout the episode, we keep getting Bojack's interior monologue, and it's brutal and relatable for some people. And basically, he's just beating himself up over everything that he's doing, and he's saying to himself, stop doing the thing that you're doing. Why are you still doing the thing? I'm telling you to stop doing the thing. It's all happening in his brain. No one else knows that he's thinking this. The other thing that stands out to me about that episode is there's a character named Hollyhock who got introduced in season 4. There's a scene at the end. She's asking him kind of like why he does all the shitty things that he does, and he's trying to explain, when I do these things, it's because of me. And she says on some level she recognizes that, but on another level she's thinking like they all hate me and they're not wrong to feel that way. And she says that's just like a stupid teenage girl thing, right? Like that's gonna go away. Bojack says, yeah, that'll go away. And I have such mixed feelings about that. On the one hand, maybe that was what she needed to hear at that moment, but on the other hand, they need to get her help before she turns into Bojack. So what does this have to do with me? This episode in particular, I had to take a break because I was affected in a weird way. I think that I was feeling like they had let people in on the secret. Why didn't you consult me first? I have nothing to do with the show. But I felt like, shouldn't they have to ask permission before they can put this out? And it showed in a really simple way a really clear definition of what depression is for certain people. I guess that was the thing, was I sort of felt like you're not allowed to tell people about this, like this is just this thing that happens in silence and we don't talk about it. And I think that's part of it, this whole idea of like being able to talk about mental illness, and I was like, no, we don't just show people how gross and ugly this is. And ultimately they were right to do it. That was one of those moments when I thought, oh, they're doing this because this thought process that he's going through isn't something that everyone goes through. This is not actually normal. That's why it's in a TV show. I know that most people don't feel this way. I don't really have anything else to say other than, yes, I think TV is important. It is a good platform for talking about this, and there are a couple of TV shows that made me finally do something. I still will not have talked to my doctor by the time the next one goes up, I don't think. In the meantime, I have some ideas I think about where I want to go next, what I want to talk about in the next of these videos. For now, that's what I've got. You have been watching my mental breakdown. I'm gonna have to cut so much of this out. This is gonna be a real editing task for me.